Okay, I think we're ready to go here. I'm going to do first, just shave off a piece along the top for the trim. Helps if you've got a pair of dog clippers for this. Like I said, you should be able to manage with your scissors. So what I do is I clear off enough for the fold at the top. And for the trim just underneath it. Okay, so we're done that. There are several ways to do the fold. I find that the fur will actually stay in place, or the backing of the fur will stay in place if you just kind of put a little bit of pressure along it. And the fold should actually hold itself. And then you just run a little bead of glue glue along the bottom, right in the seam, right where the fold is, and then just fold it over. And the glue will set pretty quick. This is where dual temperature glue guns come in really handy, because you can run them on high if you want to more working time, low if you want the glue to set quickly. There. See, now what you have is you have a finished edge along the top. You've got a spot cleared out. This is not wide enough for what you're using, but I mean, once you've got that made, you can actually make this a little bit wider if you have to. So now, gluing the backer, I got my form. Take the backing, you lay it along the form. And then you line it up. Just get the right camera angle here. So what I've done here is I've got the edge of the backer that comes just underneath the edge of the fold. So you look on both sides. I usually like to have a little extra. I always work with too much material rather than not enough. So I line that up. Don't glue the edges just yet. Depending on the type of clasp that you want to use, you want to leave that open. You can glue it at a later time. Also for sizing, if you got it maybe a little too big, then it'll just give you the option of cutting it down a little bit. So once I've got that in place, just hold the end, flip that back up like that, and I use kind of a smearing action. So put a little bit of glue like this and kind of smear it back and forth as you go. I do about an inch at a time. Smearing also keeps the glue hot until you can then you just run it, keeping it down, keeping that edge along the edge there. Just roll it. Roll it, give it a squeeze, the glue will set quickly. Lift up. There, it's glued. And then just continue. Just continue along the edge there, just smearing it. The only drawback to doing this is when you start sewing beads and whatnot on. Now you're pushing the needle through the glue. And that sucks. But hey, what can you do? It's either that or you sew this all on and then you end up having the sew or the stitching over top of the fur. Then you need to take a comb and pull the fur out. So I find it's, being the lazy person I am, easier to do it like this. So just continue with that, like that. You're keeping it on the form. You want to glue this on the curve, and then what will happen is after you're finished, the collar will hold its shape. So there you have it. Especially in something like this where I'm using a black material on white, you don't want the backer to come right to the top, otherwise it'll show. So this actually gives the top of the collar a nice finished look. And also, if you if you decide to trim it down a little bit for whatever reason or shift it around, you've got a little bit of playroom up here. So that's basically how you do it. Just trying to think of what else here. Oh yeah, also with the trim you want to do the same thing. Crap, I got some around here somewhere. Same thing with the trim. You keep the whole collar on the form. And hang on a sec, I'll get some trim. Okay, here we go. So if you're going to do the trim, same way, I always leave a little bit of extra. And the reason for that is when you're finished, you can fold that to the back and it gives the end finished look. And it'll also prevent fraying. So keeping it on. Now remember, see, you're starting to work with multiple layers. We're on to our third layer now. If you glue this on the flat, like this, when you pull it around your neck, it'll start to bunch up. So that's why we work on a curved surface. So the same thing. Lay the collar over top of the form, leaving a little extra, keeping the trim along the top. I go like that. I'm not going to glue this because I'm not making anything here, but just run a bead of glue along here, and then just don't stretch it, just lay it over top. Give it a couple of little presses. There. Then you're good to go. And that's how you work with all the layers. Like anything else that you add on, just keep using that technique. And voila. End of video.